I wasn't a serial killer. No.
And you just told me that he killed over 80.
Richard Cottingham killed who he wanted, when he wanted, because he's a serial killer.
The game, it was being able to get away with it. The stalking. It was like the perfect every time. Now I'm telling you too much.
This is 68-year-old serial killer Richard Cottingham. Right now, Richard is playing with these detectives as he realizes he's been caught for more than 80 murders he committed over the course of 50 years.
But for every one that I killed, I've done this to 30 other girls.
But Richard is one twisted, cunning old man and knows exactly what to say, because he's about to lead detectives on a goose hunt as they try and solve the murder spree that Richard has committed over the course of 5 decades.
So start from where
You're redoing my way.
Hold on.
This cunning, cruel, manipulative serial killer says he wants closure.
I was out there every night, like an animal. Florida, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Baltimore. This whole thing was my killing ground.
It was early morning on May 22nd, 1980, when workers at a Quality Inn in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, were startled by an ear-splitting scream. It wasn't the screech of a fight or someone playing. It was the desperate cry of someone screaming for their life. Motel employees forced open the door of room 117, where they discovered 18-year-old Leslie Ann Odell thrashing and fighting for her life as 33-year-old Richard Cottingham attacked her. Her hands were handcuffed behind her back, and Cottingham had a knife to her neck. Workers separated the two and held Cottingham until police arrived. Initially, they thought he was a sicko, a twisted man who had picked up a street worker to take advantage of. But what was in front of them was something that was somehow even worse. As Richard Cottingham was brought to trial for the kidnapping and attempted murder of Leslie Ann Odell, 4 other victims came forward, revealing the violence they had been through at the hands of Cottingham. As police looked deeper, they were able to connect Cottingham to not just assaults and attempted murder, but the murder and kidnapping of several women. In 1984, Cottingham was convicted of the murders of Valerie Ann Street, Mary Ann Carr, Dee Dee Gudarzi, Mary Ann Jean Gadini Rayner, and an unidentified Jane Doe. Those charges were enough to put him behind bars with the nickname the Torso Killer, due to the fact that he dismembered several of his victims in hotel rooms. But it didn't stop there. For the next several decades, police worked tirelessly to connect Richard Cottingham to other murders. In 2014, he was brought in and questioned regarding several murders in exchange for immunity. The interrogation you are about to see largely revolves around the assault of a victim who survived. She was rescued by police, but nearby, Richard had put several other women in a well, women who police are desperate to identify. Which means if they can find out where and when this supposed survivor was attacked, they can find additional victims, and maybe, just maybe, bring closure to some mourning families.
And how did you get her? How did you end up getting her back in her car? Anything that helps me?
No, she was getting into a car and I just pushed my way in.
Okay.
That's how I always...
And then you take her car.
Then I pushed my way in, I handcuffed her, I tied her up, and then we just drove off the motel.
So explain. Just describe it for me again. All right. So we're talking about when I drove you up there last time. Did anything look familiar?
No, it's altogether different.
Yeah, I knew it would be.
It was all farmland there. Let me see. When we drove up the last time, I always went.
So start from where you're
redoing my way.
Hold on, just so I get it clear. The street that the ice rink was on.
Let me explain to you. This way you know everything I know about this.
Okay.
Every time I went there, I came up the street going to that street. This was the field, the cornfield, that I always, the road's back here. This time I came, and it looked kind of wet and everything, so I used to just drive right off the road, drive back in, and turn the car around and face this way. So I always knew, even if a cop car came by and see me from here, by the time he got back here, I was gone into the woods. So I never brought my car there. So this time, I went up to here, and I went around this way. So I pulled the car up this way, And I went in, I said, let me try over here, maybe I'll find a new spot. And when I went in about 40 or 50 feet, the car stopped. I got stuck in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed there about 10, 15 minutes. I was talking, I was trying to decide what to do. The cop car came up this way. And then he went by, and then I seen him back up. So I knew he spotted the car in there. So I got out of the car with her, and I ran into the woods. I didn't even know where I was going. Now there were dogs in his house started barking, either from me or the cop car or whatever. So that's what driven. So now I said, let me go over that way. So I stopped here, and she started screaming. She heard the cop car, and she's screaming. The cops were up there, they couldn't see where the screaming was coming from, but they were by that empty car. But we were now 40 or 50 feet into the woods.
And the empty car is the victim's car.
Right.
It's her car.
Right. Her car was right around here. We're back here. I could see the cops because they had flashlights and everything, but they couldn't see me. But they could hear her screaming. So I panicked. I tried to shut her up, and then I took off.
You mentioned. Do you know for sure? Like
Yeah.
how many times?
One time.
Okay.
Right in the face.
Oh, it was definitely in the face.
Because she was screaming, I just panicked.
Okay.
I was just trying to stop her from screaming.
And she would have been tied up in some way?
At that point, I don't even know if she might have even been loose. I might have untied her. Because we were in the car for about 10, 15 minutes before that, because I couldn't, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't back out, I couldn't go forward.
Right.
So I didn't know what to, I didn't want to hurt her head. That I wouldn't have done that. So, and if the cop car didn't come by, I don't know what I would have done. In fact, I was thinking both of us get out and push the car. I can tell you, she was dressed and she had a suit on. She had like a suit jacket and a tie.
A tie?
Yeah, a tie.
About how old was she?
Early 20s, I would say.
Okay.
Dark hair.
You love dark hair.
The funny thing is, most of my victims are dark, but I like blonde too.
So, alright, I have some things to work with on that. What kind of car? Any idea what kind of car it was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was a regular, it wasn't stick, that I know.
The victim that Cottingham is so callously describing has never publicly been named, but police are certain that she existed. Unfortunately, due to poor record keeping, they were unable to find the initial incident report from this attempted murder, which took place in February of 1968. They do, however, have a news article describing the exact horrible attack that Cottingham has told them about. Except, he's missing a few details. Details that, conveniently, make him look a lot less cool and collected, like he's trying to claim. Cottingham forced his way into the woman's vehicle after posing as a police officer. He flashed a fake badge, then pushed inside, threatening the woman with a knife before he handcuffed her hands behind her back. After arriving at a nearby orchard under the cover of darkness, he proceeded to try and assault the victim. That is, until police arrived. The woman screamed for help, and when police found her, she was, as the newspaper article describes, nearly hysterical. Given the fact that she was stabbed in the face, yeah, I'd say she had a right to be. Cottingham placing that attack in the vicinity of the well gives police an exact area to search for the supposed 3 victims that he abandoned there. But how did Cottingham find the well in the first place? And where did the victims come from?
Now, tell me about the well. How did you ever first find the well?
In the beginning, I wanted to find a place to drop the body. But see, I always like to drop them near the side of the street so I can be found easy. And most of them, sign over the thing. Almost all mine were. But in the beginning, I didn't think that way. But then I think, I didn't want these people rotting,
Mm-hmm.
So I got a little settlement. I said, if you drop them near the street, somebody will find them in a day or two. But I walked, I might have just got out to take a leak or something. But I walked back. You could walk from this field. This field was all solid. There was no water, no wood, no swamp. But when you walk back in here, after you got about 40, 50 feet, it turned to swamp. Where there's actually water, you couldn't actually walk dry. And I was walking back there to see if I could find a place to, hide a body.
Were you by yourself when you first discovered it? Like you were just on like a scouting mission, or did you actually have a body in there that first time? Do you know?
I had a body.
Okay.
And I had the first time I seen it, I didn't know what it was. That's what it was. I walked on it, and it was tin. It was like a galvanized round type,
Like corrugated?
Yeah, it was like I'd say 8 foot long, 10 foot long, 5 foot wide. So it was a big piece. Because I walked on it, I realized this ain't ground no more, and it was like metal. But it was pitch black. I couldn't see what it was. I didn't have no flashlight. I never carried a flashlight or a light or anything. The next time I came back, I was earlier. It was only about 8 o'clock at night. It was still dark, but it was early. It was lighter, or the moon was out or something. So I went back to see what it was. And I seen it was a metal piece. So I moved it, and I couldn't see nothing. It was pitch black. So I dropped the rock. I went down, it sounded like 100 feet, but we're down about 20 feet, 15, 20 feet. And I seen the side of it was like a well. It looked like, but not brick, like stone or old cinder block or something, like an old-time cistern or something that somebody covered up so nobody would fall in. And then I said, hey, this is a good spot. Then I remember the 3 girls were dropped in there, and then I said, when I started thinking about them rotting there, I said, nah. That's why I started dropping them by the side of the streets.
So you only used that well for 3 bodies.
Just 3.
This would have been the 4th one, but she got away.
I don't know if I was going to put her in there. Because after those 3 were in there, I went back there many times, but I never put nobody else in there.
Okay.
So I don't know. It wasn't always planned. It was, just how things came out, I don't know if it just looked different to me that time. I thought I might get stuck. That's why I went around the other way. I would have went back. I don't know if I would have dropped her in the well at the 4th one or not. But I brought quite a few others after that I didn't. After that 3, I never went back to that well.
But you would go back to this field.
Oh, then yeah.
And then you would just go dump the body somewhere else.
Right. This whole area was my killing ground.
Yeah.
If you want to call it that. Like I said, I went to this place 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
But I always would come up here and then, see, I could only go during the winter. That's another thing. It had to be a cold month because during the summer, this was all corn. You couldn't drive over it.
Okay.
So in the winter, it was all cut down. I'm not saying that it could have been fall, but I mean, it had to, not summer or anything when the corn was growing. And I always would come up and then just drive right across the field, turn around, and then it's fine. I might be over here one time, but it was always usually within 50 feet. It was beautiful because I could command this whole view.
Mm-hmm.
And I could, and there was no traffic. I mean, maybe a car would go by every 10 minutes. That's how little traffic was back then. Mm-hmm. It was all cornfield, all woods and cornfield. That's why I know if you find out where that girl, where they write up the girl, then you get land records, you'll know the exact, right to the inch where this second house was.
Right.
Because the houses aren't there no more. Because we went by, there was no houses there, I don't think. If I was seeing 3 houses, I would say, yeah, this is it.
Well, there might be 3 houses, but there might be 100 next to them now.
They were old farmhouses.
Okay. Yeah, it's not the
Get a
same.
report to that. And they
So let me backtrack a minute. So just for the girl so you're positive you abducted that girl from the Bergen Mall. That's the mall that you kept.
well, I can't say that.
Okay.
It was either that I'm 90% sure it was the Bergen Mall, but it could have been the Garden State Mall.
Okay. But there's one of the malls.
Oh, one of those two.
Okay.
Guaranteed 100%. It was about, it was dark. I would say it was probably about 6:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30.
And give me just approximate year.
Then it would have to be after 1970, the early 70s.
Okay.
Later, Cottingham confirms that the murder of these 3 unknown girls took place between 1970 and 1973. And sadly, we say girls because Cottingham was no stranger to attacking children. Out of the 20 confirmed victims Cottingham has revealed to police in the past 40 years, a quarter of them were under the age of 18. And sadly, those are just the murders that Cottingham was comfortable confessing to. Who these 3 girls in the well were, we still don't know to this day. Police were able to track the estimated location of the well, but it has since been covered over by a business and a parking lot, making it impossible to locate and excavate. Over 50 years later, these girls' families are still waiting for answers, and Cottingham is still reveling in the sick glow of their murders.
The three girls that are in the well. Any ideas to help with those? Like, do you remember them at all?
No.
Where they came from, how they were killed, anything?
One was I picked up in Little Ferry. There was a right there in Little Ferry I used to go into. And I'm pretty sure. And one was a waitress. I remember she was a waitress.
From where?
I don't know. Local in the area, but I don't know where. I think she was young too, I think. I'm not sure. And the other girl could be a blonde from Atlantic City, but I'm not sure. That's what I say. I'm mixed up over. It just sometimes it was one after the other, and then sometimes for 6 months I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
What would have made you bring a girl from Atlantic City all the way up here? Did you go down there?
Yeah, I was in Atlantic City.
What would have made you bring her all the way up here?
So that's where I brought them all. That's what I'm saying. Almost everyone was, not all of them,
Right.
but almost everyone was.
So let's assume for a minute that you killed a girl in this field. Forget the well for a minute. You killed a girl in this field. What would you do then? You just take a dead body and put it in your car to go dump it somewhere?
Well, I would, if I was in her car, I would just go different places. You know, I've gone up to New York State. I've driven from there all the way out to the end of Long Island.
How would you get back?
What?
How would you get back? If you
I would just drop the body and then come back with the car.
Oh, okay.
And drop the car wherever. Sometimes it would be in my own car. But I never drove my own car across there. I was always afraid of getting stuck. I always knew if I got stuck, I could just run.
Right.
I never took my car in there. Like I said, a lot of times I would leave it in the 24-hour diner because it was beautiful. The car could stay there forever. And nobody ever know. Nobody looked for it, and I always knew once I make it back to that diner, I'm okay.
Even if I was able to find it,
Yeah.
nothing says that it's not developed all over, that
I know, it's trying to be impossible.
or that obviously we'd have no, who knows how we would even identify anybody in it. I don't even know. But obviously I'd like to find it because we would like to put these 3 girls to rest somewhere.
But that would hit the papers. That's what scares me. That you couldn't cover that up. They found the bodies now.
No, but that doesn't mean that it's you that hits the papers unless you decide to accept
But
responsibility.
then people, they had, I thought it was true. Then they asked, how did you know it was located over there? Reporters aren't stupid either.
It's a tall order trying to find this.
Yeah.
I knew last time when we drove you out there that it's just changed so much that it was never going to work.
No.
But we'll try. I'll try it again.
In exchange for speaking so openly with police, Cottingham has struck a deal that he has immunity from being prosecuted for the murder of these women, which, given the fact that he's got more than 1 sentence of life imprisonment, isn't the real issue. The real issue he has is evidently with the media learning about his crimes, because despite being a serial killer who took advantage of countless women and left dozens of parents without children, he's concerned about his own children. because shockingly, he had 3. When he was arrested in 1980, his daughter was just 7 years old and sent him letters like this, where she innocently offered her dad a unicorn sticker. Still to this day, he's trying to keep his family life and serial killing life separate.
But I would always figure that's why nobody ever knew what was going on, because I would drive 3 hours out to Montauk, leave a body there. Next time I'd go there, well, we're down the turnpike until I couldn't go no further to jail, leave a body there. So there was never connected, never 2 or 3 until the very end where I got started getting stupid.
What do you think, what year is the first, do you think? Do you have it in your head, or you have no idea?
Well, I can knock it down to 1 or 2 years.
What do you think? How far back?
67. 60, maybe the end of 66. 67.
It's a lot of years of running around.
A lot of states still.
Yeah. Do you have a number in your head that you think? Did you ever sit back and think about it?
It's sad to say I couldn't count that high. They start to get jumbled. I would say there's well over 80.
You think that many?
Well over. I've done some in Florida, Connecticut, a lot in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Baltimore. Any place within driving distance that was not connected to me, I would try. My whole thing was not to make a pattern, which I never did. And never to try to kill them the exact same way, or to, leave a signature. I wasn't stupid, and other than that one time in Hackensack where just luck, I would have been caught there.
Right.
I was never even close to getting caught, other than that one time.
Where'd you end up dumping that girl after that cop stopped you?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't even remember who she was, but I was coming back from Montreal at the time. And that's what it was at. I was coming down River Road. And I was during the day too. And I never really did anything during the day, but it was like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Richard Cottingham did drop bodies in differing locations, from hotel rooms to parking lots, to victims' homes and nearby rivers. His MO did work for a time. In the 60s and 70s, the term serial killer was just coming into use, and no one suspected that the variety of murders he committed were connected. Though, a big part of that isn't because Cottingham is smart. It's because policing was frankly not smart at the time. The incident that he's just discussed, where he was almost caught, took place sometime in the early 1970s. Allegedly, he had a deceased victim in the back of his vehicle when he was pulled over for a minor driving infraction. Rather than let the cop see his back seat, he got out of his vehicle and approached the cop car to show the officer his license and registration. Yeah, don't try that one at home, ladies and gentlemen.
But a lot of runaways. See, a lot of the girls were hitchhikers, runaways.
There was a lot of hitchhiking back then too.
Oh, everybody hitchhiked. Every day going to work, I used to get more rides. Let's see, that was the thing with me. I wasn't a serial killer. No,
And you told me you think you killed over 80. That fits the definition pretty well.
No, it doesn't.
But I know what you said, because you've told me in the past, there's been many more that you let go.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
I didn't go out to kill somebody. Most anyone I killed was when I would be somehow connected to them, and I didn't want to get caught. It was more than just not getting caught. I was just thinking about myself.
What do you mean connected? Meaning like somebody might have seen her get in the
Like
car, or...
Yeah, like in the Bergen Mall. I walked around the mall. I walked that parking lot, followed her into the parking lot. Anybody could have sit in the car. To me, in my mind, I don't know if anybody's seen me. That to me, like I tell you, one time in Atlantic City, I met a girl in resorts. She went with me, and I brought her back up here. In my mind, hey, I could be on a camera down there or whatever. So those are the ones I couldn't leave. But if the girl wasn't dangerous to me, I never went out to kill.
Mhm.
That's why I said I'm not really like a standard serial killer. I didn't get no joy when I was on the way. And that's the truth. Never had no joy. It was very hard.
So what was the thrill? Was it control, tying up?
No, it was the game. It was being able to get away with it. The stalking. To be able to do it, it was like the perfect murder every time. You see something in the paper, a body was trying to hit, you never heard of it because there was never nothing after that. You know, no cops ever came around me or sniffed around like you see on TV.
Mhm.
It was getting away with it. And even a lot of times, it was controlled, but I mean, a lot of times we didn't even have, a lot of times, sometimes. It was more, I used to say, the hardest, when I was doing, the hardest thing in the world is to be, and I mean be fair, right? The out hustlers, they are sharp. You don't understand that because you never was in the, if you would see New York City in the 60s, they were sharp. And they would never do anything, ever, until you paid them first. I mean, it was like a religion. But I would get them so greedy by showing so much money. I would show them a wad like $1,000, $1,200. Their eyes would go crazy. And I always appeared innocent, naive, green. I played that act. Like I didn't know what I was doing, you know, I acted afraid around them, we're going to get caught or all this stuff. So in their mind, they're going to rob me. And it was the game to get, most times we went out drinking, I'd get them drinking, get them drunk, get them in a room, I never paid them. And that was the majority of the thing, to beat them out of their money, because they were going to try to beat me out of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a case right here, right on Route 46. I had a girl in there. She was so greedy. She took she was from the waist up. She grabbed my pants and ran out of the room with my pants and left her shirt behind. And she runs right into a guy next door. He opens the door, he heard the noise.
You thought she was stealing your wallet? Or stealing your cash?
She was.
Yeah.
She grabbed it. She got about $1,100 from me. So the only one that ever got away, got my money, out of all of them. She did, because I never thought she'd run out without clothes. Yeah. You know, so I'm pretending I'm drunk and I'm there and I'm laying there and everything. Man, she made a beeline.
That's classic.
Oh, I can tell you stories, sir.
I know you can.
Despite being positively confirmed as having killed 20 women and girls, Cottingham wants to make one thing clear. He's not a serial killer, even though he's bragging repeatedly about having somewhere between 80 and 100 victims. But to Cottingham, it's increasingly clear that the victims aren't people in his eyes. They're greedy for wanting to be paid what they were promised, or loose for getting in a vehicle with him in the first place.
The girl that you talked to me about that looks like that actress, Sherry. Do you remember the stuff that
No. I remember.
I don't want to feed it to you.
No.
Because I want to hear what you remember about it.
I don't remember.
You had good detail on it. You really did.
I remember there was a girl that, the name of the picture was Roswell.
Yeah.
That's the name of the picture she was in. Every time I watched that picture, it reminded me of that girl.
Correct.
Looked exactly like her for some reason.
Exactly what you told me.
I don't know. That I remember. I gotta play it back in my head.
Do you remember you told me you followed her from a store in Hackensack?
Sears.
Yeah.
Sears and Roosevelt. Sears and Roosevelt.
Did that bring it back?
No, I didn't follow her for stuff. I met her in Sears.
Okay.
I seen that she was buying something. She bought something in Sears. She purchased something in Sears, a scarf or something like that. And I followed her out of the store. And she walked down Main Street towards the movie theaters down there. I was walking behind her, seeing where she was going. And She stopped at one of the stores either right before the movies or right after the movies. I was looking in the window and I went up next to her and I started talking to her. And I was trying to get her to go to, if she wanted to go to a movie. And she said no, she had to be home by 10 o'clock or something like that. So I'm trying to figure out how can I get her for some drinks to get some liquor into her or whatever like that. That was right by the movie theaters.
How did you get it?
I told her, I asked her, I got her to agree to go for one drink.
You remember how old she was?
I think I don't know how old I was at the time. I don't know what year it was, but I think she was pretty close to my age. We were, you know, I think the early 20s, if I'm not mistaken. But she was right around my age.
Okay.
I think she told me she was divorced. Not sure. I think she told me she was divorced or split up with her husband or...
Already? In your early 20s?
Yeah, I referred to something like that. Split up or... Or it might have been a boyfriend. I think that... Because we talked about something like that. I don't remember exactly now.
And where'd you end up going?
I got her to go to the Holiday Inn in Middlebury on the Circle there. That's where I had my car parked.
You had to walk there?
No, we took a bus.
Oh, okay.
No, we took a cab. We went to get a bus and there were no buses that were going down. I was trying to get the bus that, I used to catch a bus in Middlebury to go to New York. So the bus came from up in Hackensack, so I was trying to catch the bus that came through Hackensack that went to Middlebury, and either there was none at that time of night, or I don't know if it was a weekend or not. I don't remember. But we wound up taking a cab. We took a cab to the Little Ferry. The Little Ferry, I didn't tell her. Yeah, I didn't want to mention the Holiday Inn itself, as, you know, as the thing, but I told her there was a nice lounge there. And I said, my car is parked there. Because that's another place I parked my car, right next to the Valley Fair. I parked it in the Holiday Inn parking lot because no one, you know, your car's anonymous. It can stay there. If I never had to come back in 2 days, it would still be there. And nobody would be saying, what's this car, you know? So I parked a lot of times right there. And when we went into the lounge, there was only like about 10 people and it was really, really empty, I remember. I thought this was good because we sat in the back. But I got the feeling she wasn't going to do nothing, you know. I just, you know how you can tell, you know. She had 2 drinks. I got a second drink into her. I can tell you one thing. If they have, I can tell you the last meal. I can tell you what's with the pizza.
You ate pizza there?
No, not there. Later on, but we stopped and we got some pizza about 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I think in Hackensack. But that's where we went. We went for pizza later. So she should have pizza.
And then where'd you go?
Now I'm telling you too much. We haven't made no deal yet.
We ain't
You got me talking.
formalized anything.
You got me talking.
Nothing you didn't tell me on the car ride back to Trenton.
I don't remember that.
I gotta show you my notes. Back then I had a BlackBerry. While Jimmy McMorrow was driving, you were in the backseat talking. I was emailing myself on my BlackBerry bullet points of what you were saying. So I wouldn't forget the detail you were giving me.
I remember that. Because I don't remember telling you about the thing, but I remember I remember one time driving back, I said, he's recording that's what I thought you were doing.
No, I was, yeah, I
I
never
said, he's
recorded.
recorded one thing.
I was actually
I
typing
said to
out,
myself, I'm gonna shut up because
I was typing out.
yeah, I can see you doing something from the back.
But I didn't want to forget what you were saying, because you were giving a lot of detail. So where did you end up taking her, though, after pizza? Where did you end up actually killing her?
Well, for now, I'm gonna leave that.
This is where Cottingham is starting to get nervous, because he's just given police a missing piece of a puzzle for not just one victim he's never told them about before, but 3. The first victim was 18-year-old Irene Blaze, who Cottingham offered a ride, then strangled her before dumping her in a river. The second victim, who he is confusing with the first, is Denise Velasca. She was killed just 3 months after Irene Blaze and found on the side of a road just over a mile away. 2 victims, connected because Cottingham can't seem to keep all the people he's killed straight. But there's another problem with the story he's told intertwining the 2. Forensics later revealed that neither of them had pizza in their system, meaning that likely he's confusing them with yet another one of his victims.
We gotta still work out a deal, and we still gotta work.
I understand.
Before I start doing all this.
Well, there's no Miranda, there's no nothing, like we talked about.
I know,
So
right?
I want to see if it matches what I have upstairs in my notes. I want to make sure that your memory hasn't faded in the last 4 years.
My memory has faded a lot.
You remember her, though.
I remember shit, and that's how I call it.
I had never heard of Sheriff. You told me.
I never knew,
I never heard of the show Roswell until you told me that.
The funny thing is, the show came out 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
I think it was in the 90s the show came out. And that's when I remember, right as soon as I seen that, I said, that reminds me of that girl. But at that time, I didn't know anything about shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember saying she was a dead ringer.
Do you remember where you dumped her?
Yeah.
You do for sure? Town or just, or you just think you remember just in your head you're seeing it?
You gotta remember, everything was so different back then.
I know. So what makes, you just said yes quickly when I asked you, do you know where you dumped her? What makes you say yes then? You just have a vision of it, or do you know what street, or do you know what town?
I think I know pretty close to where I dropped her.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure.
What the fuck does that mean?
Because when I start thinking about something, then I say, well, maybe that was this one.
Right.
Maybe, like I said, now I just remembered we had the pizza. Little things like that, just for some reason I'll remember.
Right.
But,
Well, where do you think you dumped her?
well, now I'm going to keep that.
I'll tell you if you're wrong. How's that?
I think I dumped her in a river or a stream.
Okay. Any idea what
I'm
town?
I'm not sure if she went in the water or not. It was too dark.
Okay.
I heard a little water. I looked down. I couldn't see if she went in the water. I couldn't even see her.
Mm-hmm.
I went down a steep, like an 8-foot drop. It was very sharp. And the only thing I'll say is it was below Hackensack. If you went down Essex Street, it was if you got out of Hackensack.
Do you remember how she was killed?
Probably asphyxiated. Probably. That's how I did most of mine.
Right. Do you remember specifically with her?
No.
Okay. So you're just kind of guessing because
I'm saying front when
you're going on the
front.
law of averages.
Yeah, I mean, I know she wasn't shot. I didn't shoot,
Yeah, no, I know that.
Things like that.
Well, like the girl up here, you stabbed, which is not, not your.
That was very unique, and that's only because I panicked. I didn't intend to. And it was a steak knife. It was a steak knife, and the knife broke. That's another fact. If you find the incident, you'll see.
Okay.
Then it wasn't a regular knife like a guy. It was a steak knife from one of the places we stopped at. That's a steak knife.
If I told you that girl, the girl that I'm thinking of, not to death, but time, does that bring back any memory? It was not by any means what killed her.
See, possibly. See, I used to a knife with them. That's why we used to put the little marks on them. And sometimes I never like sometimes. So that could be possible, but it wouldn't have been like a 5 inch or anything like that.
Irene Blaze, one of his victims, was stabbed in the back a single time, not to kill her but to inflict pain. Out of his 20 confirmed killings, 11 women were strangled and 4 of them, nearly half, had additional knife wounds that wouldn't have been fatal.
I don't sit there and think about these things. I try not to even think about these things.
Well, Rich, some of these things too, you're thinking of, like, if you were to give me everything you got, that somehow I'm going to put it to dozens of murders all over the place. You see the lack of detail you have on a lot of these things, and even some of the detail, like you said, you think is with one, it might belong to another one.
And I'm being honest.
And I mean, it's easier than you think, or maybe not be. This might not be as successful as you think it would be in terms of what much successful meaning on my end. And that's why I project for so much detail, because that's about the only way that you can figure out one case from another.
I told you in the very, very beginning, most of the detail is not going to be detailed. Most of the details be, I dropped this body off at road mark so on the Jersey Turnpike. And you look up and you'll find a body was dropped there. But now, for me to tell you what girl it was, I can't remember. The one I dropped off way out in Long Island. I remember driving out there. I remember I could go to the street, go down there, I went there, I turned the car, and there was a fence there, I threw over the fence. But to tell you, was it the one I got hitchhiking over here in Paramus, or was it, until I know more facts, or I see a picture, or something distinctive, or something, there was just too many. I just don't remember. I can tell you how I always did these things, but, see, you might think the number I threw out 80 is being a lot. But for every one that I killed, I'd done this to 30 other girls. For every one, hundreds. I was out there every night, like an animal. And most, like I said, I didn't kill and everything. So I have those pictures in my mind too. I'll remember funny things, and it's oh no, she's still there, she's still walking around or whatever. Like Linnell, Linnell was with me for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I didn't kill her.
I think longer than that.
Was it?
I think longer, yeah.
That's all I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As of the publishing of this video, Cottingham is still being investigated for murders in numerous states, including Florida, Maryland, Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey.
But I don't remember ever hitting her. Ever. I think she was lying there, because I just didn't. And then you gotta remember, I had regular girlfriends. I was juggling a girlfriend here, my wife here, girlfriend here, Linnell was here, I'd go from one to, it was a comedy. I'd leave work at 11, I'd go up and I'd pick her up at Montefiore Hospital. I'd take her down to one of the bars, Flanagan's or something. We'd spend till 2 o'clock, take her back, and then go over to Barbara Lucas's house, spend an hour or two there, then I'd drive. And then I'd go home, and I'd be home by 5:30. And this was a constant thing.
What made you on certain nights say go see your girlfriend versus end up going out and looking? Was there anything that triggered it? Like, what made you want to hunt on a certain night?
I didn't ever say I'm going to anybody. I'm very anybody.
What would make you, like, let's say, what would make you go scout looking for to hurt a girl? Versus, is there anything that happened during the day? Like, is there something you can look back on and go, you know what?
Are you trying to be a psychologist?
I'm just interested. I'm actually intrigued. Because when you brought up the girlfriends you had and the things that kept you busy, it was like, what then did you end up being, what happened like on a certain day versus that would make you be like, I want to do this tonight versus I'm going to go by Barbara Lucas' house or I'm going to go over here?
I was an animal.
So you can't point to some particular thing that was like on the days that I did this, I would get mad at somebody or I'd be...
No, nothing like that. I went scout every day, 7 days a week, 10 years, 15 years, every day. If I went to pick up my car, that's how I met her now. I went to pick up my car, had it on 9th Avenue, 42nd Street, and she was right in Times Square. And I just walked there and talked to her, and I got her to come back and wait outside my job till I got off work. Things just like that, you know. But I was always looking for an opportunity or... Like, that's what I say, there was so... I just had the knack I could pick up women. I don't know what it was. I'm not a great looking guy. I don't know what it was, but I could walk a block. I can see a girl walking down a block, and within the block, know if I could get her into a motel room or something. You know, I'd go out to Baskin Robbins and pick up a girl just right on the street between my job and Baskin Robbins, which is only 2 blocks, and have her come sit in my car and wait for me 3-4 hours until I got off work. And then, you know, things would happen. But every time when I got off work at 11 o'clock, I'd go, one of the strolls was pretty close to my work. I'd always go down there. I'd make my little routine loose. I'd always look for new girls. You know, a lot of the old-time girls never paid attention to me because they know I didn't spend no money with them. You know, so, you know, I never spent a dime, actually. That was my thrill. But then by 12 o'clock, I'd have to be up at the hospital, and then I'd come down, I'd be in the bars, you know. But this was 7 nights a week. I drank 7 nights a week. I went out with these girls every night. What I did to my poor wife. No. She didn't have a clue.
No, well, probably better.
They never do, but...
It's probably better that she didn't. Probably better she didn't.
Well, she thought I was cheating on her.
Right.
You know, she always accused me of that, because, I mean, I never came home at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I come home drunk every night.
Yeah.
And I worked 7. That's the thing, too. I went to work 2 years straight without a day off. Christmas, I was making so much. That's why I always had money. I was making so much money. I started working $57 a week there. And my first year, I made over $7,000.
Cottingham would like people to believe that he was a great pickup artist with a natural charm, but he's leaving a very important detail out. How he really got women wasn't by wooing them. He got them by offering them rides, drugging them, paying them, or taking advantage of them. Now, you're about to hear Cottingham describe a woman, Nancy Vogel, as a hussy, for lack of a more YouTube-friendly word. His story is a perfect example of how he twists the narrative to try and act like the women he attacked somehow deserved it. Nancy Vogel was a 29-year-old mother of 2 who knew Cottingham because he was often in the neighborhood. One night, she decided to stop by the mall before playing bingo at her local church. We reiterate, bingo at her local church. She instead went to the mall to pick up something. On the way back to her car, she encountered Cottingham, who forced his way into her car, drove her to a remote field, and killed her. That doesn't sound like the woman that you're about to hear him describe.
So what do you think is going to help you to put detail to some of these things? I mean, I don't want to like show you pictures, or I don't want to, you know, it's really just talking about it to me seems like detail comes back to you. I mean, you had a lot of detail on the Vogel, the Nancy Vogel one, the one that we got. Like, what made that one stick in your head so much?
I tell you, because I went out with her. I hate to say it, and I don't want to, you know, she's dead now and everything. I mean, she was a nice woman, but she was very unhappy. She picked me up. And I went out with her about 4 or 5 times. You know, we had drinks right in the Holiday Inn there, because she used to go to the Valley Fair, Then we go over into the valley, into the Holiday Inn. Because that place, it was anonymous. You go into that lounge, it was never full, it was always empty. And you can stay by yourself in a corner booth. But I didn't have really that. I didn't remember. I remembered basically where I dropped it. That's what I remember in most of them. Like I said, you know. See, there's also cases that if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying.
Like what? What does that mean?
I think I told you once before that I, just by walk at it, but just by happenstance, you can kill somebody one way and it'll appear to be a different way. Like I said, I did things in all different ways. But I told you that in the very beginning.
You did tell me that. I remember. You did tell me that at the very beginning.
Because I always said, you know, this is a perfect murder. I mean, they can't tell, obviously. Then, you know, when I thought about it, I said, well, you know, the heat dries everything up. Dries. Why would you think somebody's drowned? The only way to tell is water in the lungs. So, that, you know, the lungs are fat, you think just smothered.
The story that Cottingham is telling here is about the double homicide of 16-year-old Lorraine Kelly and 17-year-old Marianne Pryor, two teenage girls who he kidnapped when they were trying to hitchhike to a local mall. He took the girls to a hotel, where he tied them to one another, beat them, and then killed them by drowning them in the hotel bathtub. Though this interrogation is taking place in 2014, Richard didn't fully admit to their murders until 2021, intentionally dragging out the suffering that their family endured even longer.
And there are cases right here.
Well, you have to enlighten me, and so I can look at them.
That's down the line.
You have to enlighten me, because I don't know that I believe.
But that's what I know. But that's why I'm saying, if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying. So I can tell you a lie, and you'll think I'm telling the truth.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I need you to tell me what you remember. That's all. I mean, and if it marries up to something, it marries up to something. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Well, you know. You know?
No.
So what do you think? What do you, when you keep saying, well, we come to an agreement, what is it in the agreement that, what does that mean? Tell me what that means in your mind. Besides the obvious that I know already, which is you're looking for it not to get back to your children.
Well, that's the main thing. But we got to talk what I'm going to get out of it.
The satisfaction of righting a wrong. That's what you get out of it. And I think you're almost at that point. What do you want for dinner tonight? Let's start with the simple. What do we eat tonight? We're getting off track here. Go ahead. What are you thinking for dinner tonight? What kind of food?
I really don't know.
Nothing striking your fancy at the moment?
Everything, nothing. You know, it's like I don't need anything expensive. You know.
No, that's good because I didn't really want to splurge on you because you haven't given me anything.
Good. Kentucky Fried Chicken would be good.
Really? I don't eat that.
Really?
No, I'm not joining you for Kentucky Fried.
No, me neither. What else? You make some suggestions.
Thank you, bro. I got paper. Excuse me. This is the worst diagram I've ever seen.
I thought you were supposed to be such a good drawer.
It made me a great drawer one year.
I can't even pick up anything anymore.
The interrogation you've just seen is one of dozens that took place from Cottingham's arrest in 1980, all the way up to this year. Through excruciating work, several police departments have worked together to get answers for grieving families and for the public. So far, the victims of Cottingham that have been confirmed are as follows. Alice Jean Eberhardt in 1965, Marianne De La Sala and Nancy Vogel in 1967, Diane Cusich and Jackie Harp in 1968, Irene Blaze and Denise Velasca in 1969, Lorraine McGraw in 1970, Mary Beth Hines and Laverne Moy in 1972, Sheila Haima and Marita Rosada Nieves in 1973, Lorraine Kelly, Marianne Pryor, and an undisclosed victim in 1974 or 1975, Marianne Carr in 1977, Dee Dee Godarzi and an unidentified Jane Doe in 1979, and finally Valerie Ann Street and Mary Ann Jean Gadini Rayner in 1980. This isn't counting the countless victims that are unnamed out there. Our thoughts are with everyone whom this monster affected. As of now, Richard Cottingham is serving multiple life sentences for these murders, but we know not even that is enough. Hopefully, in time, all of his victims will be located and granted the peace that they deserve after a horrific incident that was in no way their fault. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.